Our extensive coverage on the Steinhoff scandal continues. Moneyline anchor Motheo Khoaripe outside a Deloitte head office in Woodmead in Johannesburg as he works that end of the story for us. I'm glad that we have re-established contact. I think one of the reasons why we lost contact with Motheo, you're about to see it right now. Let's bring up that picture. Look at you in the pouring rain, and you didn't bring an umbrella with you, Motheo. I don't know what to say. We shall have one sent. Where does Deloitte fit into all of this?
Yeah, I think we're a bit ill-prepared, weren't we? But it's a big one, Jeremy. That's why we rushed here and left that umbrella to try and find out from Deloitte what their position is as it comes to light that there was accounting irregularities at Steinhoff. I've got independent auditors report here from their financials in 2015, which was last signed off by the company behind me, Deloitte. We're here to find out whether the company will be, issuing any statement or giving itself off in terms of the investigations that will be done by PwC into the company. But because earlier this week, we do remember that Deloitte refused to sign the financial statements that was supposed to be released by Steinhoff on Wednesday. The reason I have this in front of me is because with every financial statement, Jeremy, a director and the auditor has to write their responsibilities of why they're reporting on the financials. The director, first of all, has to give off the company's debt, the company's profits, every single number in the company that the auditors can look at. And the auditor's responsibility is to independently look at those numbers and report on whether Steinhoff is still doing what it says it's doing to the market and to, more importantly, to its investors. And, it's kind of a bad light for the industry, and it's pouring, if I can say so, for the auditing sector, because we know that KPMG earlier this year were looked at by the independent regulators of auditors earlier this year to go into an investigation that saw KPMG leave all contracts by public companies, and now in the private sector we have Deloitte that refused to sign off on Steinhoff papers that would be their financial results. Now the problem with that is that South Africa is seen as a credible financial sector, and more so we're seeing with things unraveling that a lot of the things that are happening in the corporate sector are linked to some sort of corruption. There was an independent study and investigation done by a company called Viceroy, which also claims that Steinhoff was taking off-balance companies and using them to prop up profits. And it's yet to be seen whether that PwC report will come up with the same results.
Motheo, I'm assuming that the red flags that were raised by Deloitte in not wanting to sign off on those financial statements would have been onerous, they would have been severe. Would we have an indication at this point as to what exactly was concerning Deloitte?
We still don't know exactly what was concerning to them. Actually, the Deloitte security is trying to pull out our cables now, but if I can just finish with you. Earlier on in this year in the financial...
The camera's shaking, guys.
They're switching off our connection here, Jeremy. It's the Steinhoff's, the Deloitte security, rather.
What are they saying? What are they saying to you, Motheo? Stay with it, Motheo.
They're saying we're not supposed to be here. They've just pulled out our connection. One of the securities is here with them. But Debucho is trying to give us some picture here. I was saying to you that earlier on, Steinhoff CEOs were, were given,
All right, Motheo, are you feeling under any threat at this point?
Not at all, Jeremy. I'm just trying to get a still picture so I can just explain myself here.
All right.
Steinhoff CEOs were given a red flag by the German authorities to say that why is it not, giving off information about deals they were doing.
Motheo, I'm going to leave it to you as to whether you want to continue the broadcast or not.
Yeah, proceed.
Okay, Motheo, I think we'll take it back from you for the moment, just while you try to establish some sense of order there. So, Motheo Khoaripe, just outside the Deloitte. In fact, I'm just going to move away from our screen at the moment, if we can keep that picture up. So getting some degree of difficulty from security people outside the offices of Deloitte in Johannesburg, just essentially trying to explain to us what those red flags were that Deloitte had seen in terms of not signing off on those financial statements. I'm sure that Motheo Khoaripe is fine, perhaps a little wet standing in the rain. We will try to re-establish contact with him a little bit later on.